Hello and welcome to BISP Solutions. My name is Ankita, and today we are continuing with the topic that we have started previously, that is Oracle Data Management Tickets. Okay, so now today we are going to start with the calculation of today we are going to schedule the monthly trial balance load. Okay, so in the given case, we are going to see how we can schedule the trial balance load. So first of all, let me show you the trial balance data. Okay, so here we can see that in the given case, we have a trial balance data with us with debit and credit as their suffix. Okay, and we have the data, we have the member name, then we have the HSP view member, that is base data, then we have the entity with us, and in the third column and in the fourth column we will be holding the product details. Lastly, we have the amount, that is the value of the each of these members, and with the suffix it is given as, we can see, debit credit. Okay, now we will go to the interface, and in this interface we are going to click on navigator. Under the navigator, I will first click on data exchange, which is an application. Okay, now here we can see that we have data integration page with us. Here with the help of this action, I will be selecting applications where we will be providing the data sources and the target data sources. Okay, so and the target application also has been provided here. So with the help of this plus sign, we can add our data sources by selecting the category as data source. Okay, we have already created it, so we are not creating it again. As we can see that I have already created data load TB as the source application. Then we need to create the target application here, which we have already created with the name vision. Okay, and the category was EPM local, as we are planning to load data here only. So as and when we click on it, we can view the dimensions and the data table columns for which we need to map it. Okay, after that, so this was about the source application and data source and the target application. Now we will move forward to the next part. So for that, we will first select the navigator, and we will then go to the data management in the integration head. Okay, so we are now into the data management interface. Here I will first select the setup. Under the setup, I will be then clicking on the import format, which we can see in the integration setup. Under this, we need to create a connection between the source system and the target application. So for that, we are going to create an import format here. So with the help of this add sign, I'm going to add here the import format, which I'm going to name it as IMF underscore DB load. And here I will select the source file. It is a data load DB. Okay, and the target application is vision. Here we are using delimited numeric data. Okay, as we are loading a single column data here. After that, I will be saving the input format that I have created. Now we need to map all the dimensions which we have in the application. Okay, so first we have account dimension. So I will mention the name account in the source column, and the field number will be in accordance with the data file that we have. So in this case, we can see that the account dimension here is in the first column. So we are going to name it as field number 1. After giving the field number, I'm going to save this, and then I will be selecting the amount in the source column, and I will be selecting here the field name. Okay, so here we can see that in the field number 1, that is the column number 1, we have the account dimension, then this is the second, third, and this one is the fourth. So we have data in our fifth column. Okay, so here I'm going to mention it as 5, and then I will save it. After saving, I'm going to add an expression here. As you can see, the small pencil sign. Okay, so after clicking on it, I'm going to add an expression here, name sign. Why? Because in the given case, we can see that in the data we have the suffix as debit and credit. Okay, so for that, here the expression value is going to be dr and cr. After that, I will save it again. Then we will move to our next dimension, that is entity. So here we have the entity dimension in column number 3. So here the period number is going to be 3. Then we have the HSP view. So HSP view was given to us in field number 2, as we can see that base data. This is a member of HSP view dimension. Okay, after that I will save it. After adding every dimensions, we need to save the import format. Okay, now we are adding a product dimension here, which is visible to us in column number 4. So after mentioning the product dimension, mapping the product dimension, we have the last dimension as the version dimension, in which we are going to mention field number as 2, as we are going to do a hardcore mapping, as we are providing expression directly over here. Okay, why we are doing this? Because we haven't mapped our version dimension in this data sheet. We don't have the version dimension here. Okay, so we are going to provide here the hardcore mapping for the same. Okay, after making these, after doing the mapping in the import format, we will save it and then move forward to the next step, that is creating a location. Okay, so to create a location, I will first click on add, and then I will provide LOC, name it as LOC TB load. Okay, after that I will click on the import format. Here I will select the import format as IMF_TB load. Okay, so after selecting the import format, we can see that we the system has automatically picked the source and the target. After doing that, I will click on save. Okay, now after adding the location, we will move forward to the period mapping. Okay, so here you can see that this page is not visible to us. Now for that, we are moving to the data integration interface. Here I can add a period mapping using this action menu. So here I will click on period mapping. I will click on the application here. So the application is vision already, and we have already mapped here the for the period December 22. Okay, we have already done that, so we are not doing it again. After that, we have the source mapping with us. So for source mapping, I am going to select the source as data load TB. Here I am providing the calendar name as CL. After that, I will click on this plus sign and will add a key period here. So the period, as we have previously added for application mapping, that is December 22, we are going to add the same period for the source mapping as well. Okay, so after providing the source mapping, we are going to save it. Okay, Now after doing the period mapping, we will move forward to the category mapping. In the given case, we are loading the actual data, so our category was already available to us as the actual here, and we are doing it for the monthly date, monthly pay. Okay, the frequency is monthly. So after doing that, I will move forward to the workflow. Then here I will click on data load mapping. In the given case, I'm going to select the location. And here I will select the location as LOC_TB local, which we have just recently created. Okay, here we are going to do the light mapping for all the dimensions. See, the process is exactly the same as we do in other mapping. However, in the given case, we are going to schedule the trial balance load, as the trial balance is loading of trial balance is a recurring process. Okay, so being a recurring process, we don't need to do it again and again. We need to repeat the process. So for that, we are scheduling it so that it will automatically the rule can be run automatically for all the periods. Okay, so in the given case, what is happening is the data is being loaded on a monthly basis. So in the given case, we will be scheduling our data load for monthly period. We'll see how we can do that after doing light mapping for all data load mapping. Here we are providing here light mapping for all the dimensions available. Then we have the version dimension. Okay, now I will click on accounts. Here we are doing like mapping. In all the cases, we will be doing a like mapping. Okay, for all dimensions. Oh, after doing the mapping, we will now move forward to the data load rule in data load. I will click on this add sign and load a data load rule, naming it as DLR TV underscore load. Here I will add an import format using the search icon. So here IMF underscore TV underscore load is the import format. After that, I will select the file, which is named here as data load TB. So I will select the file here and then click on OK. After that, I will save it. Okay, so we are done with the loading part. Now I will click on the schedule to execute the rule. Okay, so here we are clicking on the import for sources, then export to target. Okay, we are running this for the start period December and end period also December 22. Now the export mode is stored. Okay, so here the time zone is going to be the Indian time zone. Okay, and date we have to select here. Here in the given case, for example, here we can select the schedule as the monthly when we are loading the historical data for the month on a monthly basis. Okay, if we are doing a monthly planning, we will select the monthly data for load. We will schedule for the monthly period. Okay. However, in the given case, I am just taking it as simple and I will show you how it runs. Okay, so here the time is 6. Okay, so 6, it is going to be 6:20. It is going to be 6:22. Okay, and select the time is PM. Okay, I will schedule it and click on OK. The scenario has been scheduled successfully. After that, I will go to the data load workbench. Okay, as and when the time occurs, we will refresh the sheet and we will view whether the data is loaded or not. So here the import and validation is over, and here the export is also done. Okay, we will view the process detail and we can see that the process ID 67 is generated, which shows a green tick, which means, and here the source system is data load TB and the data load rule is DLR TB underscore load. Okay, for this process our data is already loaded. Okay, now to view the data file, I will then, to check whether the data is loaded or not, validate it, I will then go to the data form here in the data using navigator. Okay, so here I will click on the data form that I have already created, named test data load rule. Okay, so here let me see the intersection for which period it is. P130 and entity is 120. So it doesn't have to be P130. Entity is 120. Okay, now I will click on go. See, the data is loaded here. Okay, let me show you where it is. Okay, so here our data is loaded for the period December FY22, and we can see that the data which are debit in nature are all positive. However, the data which are credit in nature shows a negative balance because the expenditure cannot be negative. Okay, that is, it cannot be credited in a credit balance. Okay, so here we can see that it is negative. So this is how we schedule the trial balance, which we need to do periodically. Now we will move forward to our next ticket, which is trial balance load for quarter one. Okay, that is January, February, March. Here we are going to understand how to load a trial balance of a multiple period using multi-column data file. So let me first show you the data file here. So here we have our data file with us. Okay, in this data file we can see that in the first column we have the account, in the second column we have our entity, in the third column we have the product with us, and from fourth to sixth column we will be holding the data from January to March. Okay, so these are the trial balance data. As we can see that it is in the form of debit and credit. Okay, so here we can see that 1510 member is indeed having a debit balance, then 1610 is holding a credit balance. Okay, so now we are going to load a data of multi-period here. So for that I will then again go to the data management. I will go to the setup. Here I will select the import format. Before that I will show you how to create a data file. Okay, so first of all I will go to the navigator, and from there I will select the data exchange. Under the data exchange I will first click on action and then click on the applications. Under the application, here I will create, I have already created a data source as file underscore one. Okay, and here we have the target as vision. I have already explained how to create the file data source and the target application, so I believe I don't need to repeat that again. So after that, after selecting the source and the target application, I will then move forward to the import format. Under the import format, I will click on this plus sign and will add an import format name IMF multi-period TV, that is trial balance. Okay, so here the source, I'm going to select the source as file underscore one. After that, I will select the target as the vision, which we already have. In the given case, we will be selecting the multi-column numeric data. Why? Because we are going to load the multi-column data in this in this case, as I have already shown you this in the data file. Okay. Now here I'm going to map the dimensions. So in the given case, we can see that in the first column, I'm going to map the account dimension. So account dimension is already visible to us in the first column itself. So the field number is going to be 1 here. After that, I'm going to map the amount here. So we can see that the amount column is visible to us and is starting from the fourth column here. Okay, so here the field number is going to be 4. After that, I will save it. After saving it, I will add an expression here. So in the given case, we are going to add two expressions. One is for the sign, as it's a trial balance data. We need to add here the debit credit expression. Okay. I will then click on OK. After that, I'm going to add another expression here. The another expression is the first one is the debit credit, and the another one is for terminate. Here we are not getting it. Wait, let me save it first. After that, maybe we will be getting the. Here we have the debit credit. Okay. Wait a minute. It's not for sign. Here I will click on this add expression, and here I will be holding the sign as debit credit. Then for entity, I will be then mentioning the column number 2, field number 2 for entity, as it is visible to us in column number 2. Please enter a valid field. Okay, there is some error in this. Let me close it. And then I will click on navigator and then to the data management. Again, I will go to the setup and into the import format. Under the import format here, the input format was data load, IMF multi-period data load. So in the given case, I'm going to click on the amount. Okay, and then the field number is 4 for the amount. After that, I will save it. Then I will add an expression here. So here, first of all, I will add an expression of the column is equals to start end. So column is starting from the 4th one till the 6th one. Okay, let me show you that first. In the data file, we can see that from column 4 we hold the data, then in 5 and also in column number 6. Okay, so in the given case, we are going just provide the column 4 to 6 as it is a data load for multi-period. Okay, After that, I will add one more expression here that we have also seen previously, that is the sign expression, in which we are going to add a debit credit sign. Okay, after that I will save it. Then here I need to map the entity dimension, which is visible to us in column number 2 of the data file. So here field number is going to be 2. Then we have the HSP view. So the HSP view, here I'm going to mention the field number as any as per the need. Like for example, here I'm using 1, as we are going to do here a hardcore mapping, which is going to be a base data. Okay, so under the hardcore mapping, we need to provide the a specific member of that particular dimensions which we haven't mapped in the data file under the head expression here. Then after product mapping, so here we can see that product is visible to us in column number C, which is column number 3. After that I will save it, and then I will move forward to the version dimension. So in the version dimension, again I'm going to do a hardcore mapping, as we do not have version member in the in our data file. Okay, so here I will save it, and we are done with the mapping part. Okay, after creating the import format, I will go to the location and will add a location here. So this location will be named as LOC underscore multi-period TV. And with the help of the search icon, I'm going to select the import format here. So we can see the source file and the target application is automatically visible here. We need to just check it, and then after that I will click on save. So we have added a location as well. Now we need to map the period. So for that, again we will be going to the data exchange, then we will click on action and then select the period. Okay, so in the period we have the target application as vision. So here we can see that we have already mapped the application already, that is January, February and March. Okay, now we will go to the source mapping. Under the source mapping, here I will select the source file first, that is file 1, and then I will mention the calendar name as CL here. After providing the calendar, now I will add the period. So I will click on the target key period and select it. So in the given case, we are loading data for quarter 1 of financial year FY22. So we are going to add a period here. First I have added January, then I will be adding February, and then lastly I'm gonna add the third one, that is March period. Okay, after that I will save the file. After providing the period mapping, I will then click on action and then move to the category mapping. So under the category mapping, under the global mapping, we do have the actual category already with us. So we don't need to add that. Okay, after providing the period mapping and category mapping, I will move to the workflow. Then under the workflow, I will click on data load mapping under data load. Below, I need to select the location first, which I have created previously, that is LOC underscore multi-period TV. After providing that, I need to provide the period here. So in the given case, period is going to be from January to March. We can select any period. Okay, the category is actual. After providing the POV, I will then move to the I will then select the dimension, and then I will click on like and will do a like mapping here, or we can call it as star to star mapping. After that, I will rule the name as whatever I want to. Then I will do a data mapping. Then entity dimension. After mapping the entity dimension, I will move forward to the HSP view dimension. We are doing a star to star mapping as we have already done the hardcore mapping in the import format. So we don't need to do here again the hardcore mapping. Now I'm going to map the product dimension, and lastly we have the version dimension. So for all the cases we have done the like mapping here. After that, I will check whether I have mapped all the dimensions or not. After checking that, I will then move forward to the data load rule, which is going to be the last step. Okay, so we are done with the mapping, and then we will be going to the data load rule and we'll add a data load rule. So it is going to be DLR underscore multi-period underscore TB. So the category was actual, plan type was target 1, and here I'm going to select the import format, and here the import format was IMF underscore multi-period TB. Okay, after that I will select the file. So let me select the file here named TB underscore data underscore Q1. So first let me delete this. And then I will again upload the file here. After that I will click on OK and then save the file. After saving the data load rule, I will then click on execute and will execute the file here. After executing the rule, I will refresh it. Okay, so now we can see that we have got a green tick. It means we will go to the data load workbench and view whether the data is exported or not. So all the 3 fishes are available to us. Now I will validate the data. So for that I will then go to the data form first, which I have already created. Which is named as test multi-period data load. So here I'm going to select the intersection first. So this entity was 120 and the product was P140. After selecting the product and entity, we will click on go. Okay, so now we can see that data is visible to us in the file. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so the data for the plant and machinery, that is a fixed asset, and its accumulated depreciation is visible to us over here. Okay, so this is how we load a multi-period trial balance data into the application. Okay, now I will move forward to our last ticket of the day, where we are going to calculate the commission using the factor expression. Okay, so when do we need to use a factor expression here is, let me take you to the interface. We have two ways to calculate the commission. Okay, one is to provide the member formula. In the given case, we are not providing member formula for commission calculation, because for all the services that we are providing, the commission the rate of commission is exactly the same, that is at the rate of 5%. Okay, so here let me first select the member. Let me show you the member for which we are going to calculate the commission here. So the revenue, so here we have the facility expenses. This I'm going to commission. Okay, so here we have the sales commission. Okay, so the sales commission is being calculated for these four services and goods. Okay, so here we are calculating commission for hardware purchases, for hardware sales through the agents, for support services through the agents. Okay, and the consulting services that we have received using the agents. Lastly, the training services that are being provided by the employee, for that also we are calculating the commission. Okay, so in all the four cases, the commission is at the rate of 5%. So we are going to use the factor. Factor expression method using data management to load the data for sales calculation of sales commission. Okay, so now I will then move to the data exchange first, where we have created the file, data source file, and the target application. And let me also show you the data file here. So in the given case, we have the account dimension, 4 members. Then we have the entity with us, for which we are loading the data and the product as well. And then we have here the amount, that is the sales value, on which we are going to calculate the commission. So what will happen is, we have the sales revenue with us over here, on which we are going to write the factor, on which we are going to write the commission rate. Okay, so let us now go to the action, and here I will click on application. So in the given case, we are going to use the source file as file, data source file, and again we are going to use here the target application as vision. Okay, so now I will then go to the data management here. Again I will go to the setup and will create an import format here. Okay, so with the help of this plus sign, I'm going to create an import format named IMF underscore factor, or else it should be factor commission. Okay, so here I am naming it as IMF underscore commission. So the source is going to be the file. And the target application is vision. Okay, the file here is going to be delimited numeric data, as it is a single column data file. We are going to calculate it for a single period, that is for December. Okay, now I will be going to map the dimensions here. For example, account dimension is column number 1. It's going to be field number 1, as it is visible to us in column 1 in the data file. Okay, and one more important thing that I need to explain is that all the files should be a comma delimiter file, that is .csv file. Okay, to load the data into the application. Then we will be having the entity dimension here. Okay, here we don't need to add the expression. So entity is going to be column number 2. Okay, there is some problem. I will then click cross it and then again open the file here. Again, I will go to setup. Under the import format, I'm going to see the make the calculation. Okay, so here I'm going to select the amount, and the amount column is going to be 4. Okay, let me expand it and then I will save it. Okay, after saving it, I'm going to add an expression here, which is a factor expression. Okay, so for the factor here, expression value is going to be 0.05. Okay, here I'm providing 0.05 because this is the percentage rate for which on which we are going to calculate the commissions. Okay, so the revenue that we have in the column in the data file, at the rate of 5%, the commission will be calculated on those values. Okay, let me show you how. So here we have provided the factor as 0.05. Okay, the entity, we're going to map the entity then. So here the entity column is 2. After that, I will save it. HSP view, here we are going to do a hardcore mapping for the same. So any of the field number is okay for the given case. It is going to be base data. Okay, so here I have provided the expression for HSP view. Then we will move to the product dimension. In the product dimension, it is going to be P110, that is column number 3. After providing the column, I'm going to save it. Then I will select the version dimension here. So the version dimension, for version dimension, we are going to provide the expression as the working, which is a member of version dimension. Okay, after providing the import format, I will move to the location. Under the location, I will click on add and will provide a location name LOC_commission. We always need to take care of the naming convention so that we can identify the process that we are doing in the loading the file. Okay, so here I have provided the location, then I have searched for the import format, and system has automatically picked the source and the target application. Okay, so after providing the location, we have already mapped the period previously, so we are not doing that again. Okay, now I will go to the workflow, then click on data load mapping, and here we have the location as LOC_commission. The period is December 22, category is actual, and the source and the target file is exactly the same as files and vision simultaneously. Okay, so now I will click on the light mapping and I'm going to map it. So here I'm going to again do a light mapping for all the dimensions here. So the rule name is and then I will map each and every dimension again. After mapping all the dimensions using the light mapping, that is a star to star mapping, I'm providing the rule name. I will then move to the next step, that is data load rule, where I will create a new data load rule. Okay, so before doing that, I will first check whether we have mapped all the dimensions or not. After mapping all the dimensions, now I will move to the next step, that is data load rule. So here I'm going to provide a DLR named DLR_commission, and the import format here is going to be the IMF_commission. After that, I will select the file here. So for that, I need to first upload it. So here it is going to be factor data calculation. Okay, the file name is where it is factor data calculation. Okay? After selecting the file, I will click on save, and then lastly I will click on execution. So I will import and export it. After that I will refresh it. Okay, so we have got a green tick here. That means under the data load workbench we are getting refreshes already. Now to check the output, again I will go to the data form here, which I have already created. So for that I will click on data, then under the data I have created a form named test factor calculation. So let me select the product here as product 1010. I think this is going to be the product. The product is any entity is 1010 and the product is also 1010. So let me see. Okay, maybe the intersection is not correct. Let me check. For that I will go to the dimension and will check the member name under the entity dimension. I will select check for the member 110 here. So 110 is facility resources. Okay, and for the product P underscore 110. Okay, Sentinel standard notebook. So now again I will go to the data form. So it is facility resources, product is Sentinel standard notebook. After that I will click on go, and we can see the output here. Okay, so here we can see that the hardware is 5000. Why we are getting that? Let me take you to the data file. Here we can see that the sales commission, the sales was 1 lakh. Okay, let me open the calculator to show you the calculation, the output that we are getting here. Okay, so here the value is 1 lakh. Oh my god, there's so many calculators. Okay, so after this I will multiply it with the 5%. Okay, so it is going to be 5000. Okay, so here the output is 5000 as we can see in the file here. Okay, so this is how we get the end result. So that's all for today. For any more queries, please feel free to ask us on www.bispsolutions.com. Thank you.